Up on the Fox 32 Week in Review, the Bears get an even sweeter deal to move to Indiana. Cold weather invades Chicago. Certain hemp products get banned in the city. Plus, a congressional candidate owns up to charges. Chicago designer turns grief into purpose. Check out the lemurs at Brookfield Zoo, Chicago. This is your Fox 32 Week in Review.
Indiana lawmakers moving forward today on their plan to bring the Bears across the state line.
Paris Schutz is in Hammond, Indiana right now. There's a site there that's becoming the top pick. Hey, Paris.
Hey, Terrence. Yes, hey, Sylvia. Hammond, Indiana, Wolf Lake. We are on the shores of beautiful Wolf Lake, just steps from the border of Chicago as the Indiana Senate passed legislation through committee, and now it goes to the full Senate, that would set up the Northwest Indiana Stadium Commission. That commission would buy the land, and it would finance at least part of the construction of a new stadium here for the Bears to play in. And sources close to the Bears tell me that Wolf Lake is indeed the favored site here in the Hoosier State. It is 22 miles from downtown Chicago, and as we mentioned, just steps from the border of the south side of Chicago. Currently, there's 300 acres here. It houses a concert pavilion, golf course, a driving range, and a clubhouse. And the state of Indiana is willing to pony up to $1 billion potentially with this stadium. Hammond Mayor Tom Hammond says the site offers several advantages over Arlington Heights.
For the Bears as a business, it gives them all the advantages of being an Indiana business, lower liability rates for your employees. I mean, obviously a better business environment in general. We have a surplus as a state, so I imagine our state would be able to offer more than Illinois is willing to offer, because it seems like Illinois is sort of digging in against the Bears, which is shocking to me. I mean, in the Bears fight song, it's the pride of Illinois, and it doesn't seem like they're being treated like the pride of Illinois right now.
Now, there's a few obstacles. There's a lot of industry here. If you look behind me, there's a BP refinery. There's an electrical company here. But Mayor Hammond says all of that is up for negotiation as the state is negotiating with these companies to perhaps clear some more land for the Bears to build not only a stadium, but a big entertainment complex.
We're going to get several of them, dozens just in the last few hours here. The simple question is, why is my utility bill so high? And this is such a big deal that they are even planning a protest out here in Hammond, Indiana, scheduled for February 1st. And so I want to give you an example of just what we're talking about here. So what you're seeing right now is a NIPSCO bill from May of 2024 to May of 2025. So take a look here. This is from Terry Logan from Hamlet. She showed me her gas bill that went from about $33 to more than $153 year to date. And get this, her total usage went down. And we noticed NIPSCO charged significantly more money for what it calls a delivery charge. So you'd see it went up from $24 up to $88, and she certainly wasn't the only one. So I spoke with Kelly Hicks, who is also from Hamlet, who had some similar billing issues, and she told me she decided to get a second job just so her family can pay these bills.
If you had a message for the utility company, what would you tell them?
Do they have the same rates that we do? I don't know I'm assuming that they do, but what do they do to combat this? I mean, everybody's turning their heat down and we're all surviving at 62 degrees or trying to. How are they surviving?
So I did reach out to NIPSCO earlier today, and they sent me a very lengthy statement that you're going to see on our website in just a little bit. That's fox32chicago.com. So it comes down to a few different things. They said that the gas rates are set by the market, but they also said that when it comes to that delivery charge or the delivery fee, it comes down to transporting the natural gas throughout the state of Indiana. But they also said part of that fee that you're paying for all the Northwest Indiana customers, part of that fee goes to maintaining and upgrading their infrastructure. So certainly you can see why that's not sitting well, hence why there's going to be a protest planned for February.
And we're in one of the several warming centers that the Salvation Army is operating during this cold snap. And there are several people here who have spent the night. And They are offering this facility 24/7 and with very good reason. As you mentioned, the kind of negative temperatures that we're dealing with, those wind chills in the Chicago area through the weekend, they can be deadly. Frostbite can happen in just minutes. We talked to one of the people taking shelter here who says he was treated for hypothermia just last night.
Definitely should help others in these types of instances, no question, yeah, because it's just obviously you wouldn't want to be out there and like, wind is coming against me, I feel like I'm going to die. You would want someone to help you out in that situation. Everyone would.
Well, I think you put it pretty well. We are talking now to one of the people who operate the mobile units. This is Warren Peeler. Thank you for talking to us.
Very welcome.
Okay, so Warren is with the Salvation Army. You've been at this for years. Tell us what you do, what you provide to people who may be on the street in this frigid weather.
We just give them a thing of encouragement how to go to shelters like 10 South Kedzie, 825 Christiana, which is here. So we go out, I talk to them, I give them pamphlets, and we just like 24/7 almost out there with the people. And we let them know there's a place that they can keep warm. And I pray with the people that's out there, and I just give them soup, and I give them juice and water and crackers, and just to make sure they're comfortable. I got a couple of tents I go to, and I just walk their soup over to their tent and serve them.
It must be difficult to know that there is a place, but you know, a lot of people just aren't willing to come to these places. You must be really worried about them.
Oh, I pray on them every day. I pray on them every day. I lost a lot of people that I knew that I served on the street. And it's like when I serve a person a bowl of soup, but if I lose one, I gain 1,000 of them to help them through whatever they go through.
Right.
Because I've been like 24 years clean and sober, working mobile outreach 17 years. Wow. So I really know the feeling about what people go through. I have been there myself.
You've been there yourself?
Yeah. 5 years on the streets, had no place to go, sleeping under cars to keep warm. And just praying foxhole prayers that I had a chance.
And what was the turnaround moment?
The turnaround is Family Department Human Services picked me up, and they brought me to a shelter. And then after that, it kept rolling and rolling and rolling. Then when I got to 15 West Monroe, September the 6th in 2000, I met a lot of beautiful people that taught me how to keep clean. But I had to do one thing. I had to trust in God that He would take me to another limit where I'm at today, and He's brought me here.
Well, this is a full circle story for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we are so glad that you're here and offering these services. I mean, really, I think we have a grateful city behind you. Thank you so much for talking to us. That's Warren Peeler. So you want to make sure if you know somebody that you give them the information they need.
Now behind me is all that's left of this church, a heartbreaking sight for this community who just celebrated the church's 58th anniversary. Fire officials say crews battled that fire for several hours yesterday. Take a look there, Sky Fox over the scene last night just before 3. That is True Light Temple of Praise in the 1600 block of Drexel Avenue. You can see the church fully engulfed in flames. Pastor James Morgan says when crews arrived, flames were already pushing through the roof. He says conditions became so dangerous that crews had to pull back and eventually the roof collapsed. He says 2 maintenance workers who were inside escaped on their own and they were treated for smoke inhalation. Pastor Morgan says what's even more devastating is that they were almost done with renovations where they spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to revitalize the building.
I said it before, my heart is in my stomach, you know, to see that my building is not here, or I just can't go turn the key any time of the day to walk in to go clean up. I spend a lot of time in this church, you know, times when I wasn't even at home doing nothing, I was here, you know, so to not be able to do that is really hurtful. It's like it's still unbelievable to me right now. Still unbelievable, and I'm looking at it, you know.
Fire officials say the cause of the fire is still under investigation. The pastor is now asking the community for donations to help them get back on their feet. If you'd like to help, we'll have more details on Fox32Chicago.com.
Yeah, so police has been here at the old Medina Temple since September of 2023, and the city expected them to be here until this September. That's when their gaming license expires, but we're finding out they may not be going anywhere anytime soon. Here's why. So State Representative Cam Buckner filed a bill just 1 week ago today, and this is what this bill would do. it would extend the temporary license for Bally's for possibly another year. So that could put them here in River North until September of 2027. So I reached out to Bally's about the bill and about the timeline of the construction at the permanent location. I'm still waiting to hear back. So we reported here at Fox Chicago on 2 construction delays. One this past May, the other in December of 2024. And both of those incidents pushed the project back weeks. Alderman Brian Hopkins didn't mince words at City Hall Wednesday. He feels this project for the temporary and permanent casino was a mistake. And he has questions about why this new delay is happening.
I have to hope I'm wrong and they can power through this, that they tell me the construction is only slightly delayed. I don't know exactly what that means. They're doing interior work now, so it's not visible to the external eye. I don't have a lot of confidence that they will open on time, but they're saying now they think they can. And they're also saying they have additional capital that they're going to infuse, even though they're struggling elsewhere.
So still a lot of questions about what's happening here at Bally's, but we've also reported about security issues inside and outside Bally's. So just recently, there was an armed robbery in the parking garage that's directly across the street that casino uses, but also there was an employee who got beat up and robbed inside the bathroom there. We've also heard from a former employee who said that there have been fights on the casino floor. So once again, reached out to Bally's for comment about some of these incidents as well as some of the construction delays and the licensing questions. I'm still waiting to hear back.
Well, as you may remember, that raid ended with at least 37 people getting arrested, which, according to the Department of Homeland Security, was an operation that targeted people believed to be involved in drug trafficking and distribution, weapons crimes, and also immigration violations. That raid happened back on September 30th, again of last year, when armed federal agents rappelled from Black Hawk military helicopters and stormed into each of the 130 units. Information from the newly filed housing discrimination charge backs up tenants' claims of agents dragging them and their children outside, separating them based on their race, ancestry, and national origin, and leaving them zip-tied for hours outside of the building. It also alleges that when tenants were allowed back in, their doors were kicked down and the people who work for the management company started putting tenants' belongings in the trash and clearing out some units. As part of this investigation, the state, as you mentioned, is trying to figure out whether these landlords tipped off federal agents about Venezuelan to intimidate and remove Black and Hispanic tenants from the building. Governor Pritzker released a statement saying, in part, state law prohibits discrimination, and that includes aiding or abetting conduct intended to interfere with housing and civil rights. In another statement, the Illinois Department of Human Rights director says every person in our state is entitled to freedom from housing discrimination and to protection of their dignity, rights, and personal safety. When actions by any entity undermine those protections, the state has a responsibility to examine them in the interest of public welfare, accountability, and equal justice. Also, as part of this investigation, we know that the Department of Human Rights will now begin contacting and interviewing some of these relevant witnesses. We've also reached out to the alderman representing this ward and some nearby neighbors to find out some more.
This was one of those days where there's furious lobbying and arm twisting and vote counting going on behind the scenes. Starting with those controversial Delta 8 and 9 weed products, they're going to be illegal in the city of Chicago come April, thanks to action the council took today. But there are some notable exceptions.
City Council approves the hemp ban compromise by a vote of 32 to 16.
32 yeas, 16 nays. This measure passes.
The new law gives retailers until April to comply with the ban on hemp-derived weed products like Delta 8 and 9. Alders had initially proposed a total citywide ban, but after some lobbying from the hemp beverage industry, they settled on a compromise that would allow the continued sale of those beverages and topicals.
I'm deeply grateful to Alderman Quinn and the City Council for creating a pathway for responsible hemp beverage businesses like Plift and Perfectly Dosed to operate in Chicago while putting an end to the unsafe hemp products found across the city. This ordinance is a step forward for Chicago.
The ordinance also bans all sales of hemp-derived weed to those under 21. Alders in support say the compromise is all about safety for children, amid horror stories of consumers getting sick off of a totally unregulated product.
The stories I've heard about this product getting in the wrong hands is something that we can't ignore. And we did something today that hasn't been able to get done in the state. So I'm really proud of what took place.
Alders in opposition say the ordinance hurts small businesses that have struggled to find new sources of revenue, and it could prevent those who rely on hemp-derived CBD for medicinal use.
It hurts me to see us cutting off an avenue for healing, for health, but also for kind of small businesses that are really the backbone of our local economy.
Meanwhile, a spokesperson for the Illinois Healthy Alternatives Association says, quote, "The legislation passed today was written hastily and without any input from the hemp industry who is actually affected by the legislation. It does little to protect children, but does allow bigger profits for big beverages, big cannabis, and the restaurant industry."
And the mayor this evening said he has concerns about this ordinance, but he would not say whether he would sign or veto it. Remember, Congress has passed a nationwide ban on hemp-derived weed products, but that won't go into effect for another year. Also on City Council's agenda today, that controversial time and place curfew. They debated it. Ultimately, they punted on voting for that because alders had some questions about some recent additions to that ordinance, and that ordinance would give the superintendent the power to declare curfew anytime, anywhere, with 12 hours notice. So that one is going to go back to the drawing board a little bit, but that hemp ban in effect unless the mayor vetoes it.
Coming up, a congressional candidate acknowledges past abuse charges. Naperville says no to a data center. And the weather is perfect for exploding trees.
I'm Willie Preston, and I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago.
Illinois State Senator Willie Preston is one of 11 Democrats running to fill Robin Kelly's open congressional seat. But he says he's not running away from his past.
I made one of the biggest mistakes of my life. It happened, it was an isolated incident. It happened one time. I slapped my wife.
Preston talked to us with his wife at his side, then his girlfriend, when she called the police on him in 2010.
My mom was a survivor of domestic abuse. I would never allow that to happen to me, you know? And so after—
Which is why you called the police.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
According to a report obtained by Fox Chicago, police responding to a disturbance at the North Riverside Mall found Preston, Bailey, and their 3 young children exiting the mall. Bailey was crying, the officer writing that Preston accused Bailey of being unfaithful and slapped her on the right side of her face with his open left hand. Bailey stated while she was walking, Preston reached out and began to choke her on the back of her neck from behind. Bailey entered Sears to try to remain safe, where Preston entered the doors and slapped her a second time with his right open hand on the left side of her face. Preston was charged with domestic battery, telling police, "I know I put my hands on her, now I gotta pay."
I knew at the moment I did it that I was wrong, and I took accountability immediately behind it.
But that's something that was 16 years ago. Since then, we have come so far with therapy and with counseling, with additional guidance.
I'm grateful for my wife sticking with me. You know, if my wife hadn't stuck with me, I don't know where my life would be right now.
Since that time, the couple have married and had 3 more children. But Preston says he understands raising his political profile also invites scrutiny of his past, which he recently revealed at a meeting of domestic abuse survivors.
I did something I'm not proud of. I slapped my wife. I went to jail. The next day she came and bonded me out. For far too often, men hide behind silence, behind shame. And I just can't stand here in good consciousness and not admit what I have been a part of.
Is something like this potentially disqualifying for a political candidate?
Well, look, if it's disqualifying to some people, I respect that. For me, it's not. I think this election we're not just in a Me Too era, we're in an affordability era. We're in an era where people want authentic politicians.
But this recent campaign commercial featuring an endorsement from Cook County Clerk Monica Gordon may hit the wrong way, given Preston's past.
Hi, I'm Cook County Clerk Monica Gordon. I am proud to be in the ring with Preston for Congress.
To lower property taxes. Regrets? Oh no. It's the best commercial in this political cycle. And again, it encompasses everything that this campaign stands for. It was authentic because I am the fighter in this congressional campaign.
A fight his wife says she fully supports.
This is something that I am doing willingly because I believe in him and I know that he's the right man for the job.
This is my partner, and that one moment where I did something that I regretted immediately is not who I am.
Preston has received endorsements from a number of Chicago area political leaders and unions, but it's unclear whether they were aware of the domestic violence charge. Preston says he intends to stay in the race.
Well, it was a packed house here last night and a really late night for a lot of the people who came out to this meeting. Ultimately, we know that the city council voted to reject the proposal for that massive data center. We are also this morning hearing from one of the 6 council members who voted no on that proposal. He posted this on his Facebook page last night, saying in part, progress must align with community priorities, fiscal responsibility, transparency, and responsible planning. When a proposal does not meet those standards or raises legitimate concerns from residents, it is our duty to pause, ask tough questions, and when necessary, say no. Now, that proposal, if approved, would have put the 200,000 square foot data center along Naperville and Warrenville roads with dozens of diesel generators. That area, by the way, is pretty close to residential homes and nearby parks and playgrounds. And the people who live in that area say location really was their biggest concern, pointing to a risk of air pollution and louder noise. About 50 people, including residents, doctors, and children, showed up to voice their concerns last night. Listen.
The data center is far too close to neighboring homes. The risk of the generator exhaust, the 100,000 gallons of diesel fuel on site, the constant 24/7 noise is absolutely a problem for neighbors.
Residents have raised serious and evidence-based concerns about the health impact of the data center. These concerns are lived realities for the people in this community.
First of all, I don't want anyone to bring in particles they are not supposed to. That means build it in a totally clear spot where there are no houses. And no one wants to always have a stinky smell in their house.
Yeah, the developer has also released a statement following that vote saying, "We are disappointed by the outcome of the vote, which overturned the City Plan Commission's recommendation, and by the City Council's decision not to allow additional time for further studies to address concerns regarding our operations. Over the past year, we committed to investing hundreds of millions of dollars to develop a best-in-class facility at a site that has long served as an anchor of Naperville's technology and jobs corridor." Now, the City Council did say that the developer could file a lawsuit if this permit didn't get approved. We're still waiting for more details on that. They also say something would still be built on the same site of that proposed data center. Again, still no word on what that could be. We have reached out to the City Council for more information, just waiting to hear back.
This is a real occurrence, but arborists say it's not as dramatic as it sounds. Officially, it's called frost crack, and it looks like this. It's caused when moisture and sap inside the tree freezes during plummeting temps, causing pressure to build, leading to the split. Certain trees, especially those with smooth bark, are more susceptible. That includes sycamores. Look close enough, and you may even find them in your own neighborhood. Here at the Chicago Botanic Gardens, several sycamores have been cracked for years. Tom Tiddens, the supervisor of plant health care here at the garden, explains that they even expand and contract as the weather changes.
I expect by morning that this frost crack will probably be opened up at least 2+ inches. If a tree has never experienced a frost crack before, the first time it happens, when it hits that certain point, the crack will all of a sudden, almost like a split in your car windshield, just boom, and it'll just kind of happen. And then that kind of fracture will be kind of in the tree for the rest of its life. I've heard it can sound like a gun going off.
Now, Tiddens says that sometimes plant wrap around especially younger trees can help, but it is best if that is done in the fall. If you have any general questions about how to protect your plants during this time, the Lenhart Library here at the Garden can help.
Got to get that quick cold weather check because, a lot of people concerned about this weekend. What's it going to mean? It's going to be cold. So some advice from people that could help all of us, right?
Yeah, because, people pass around tips for you, but some of them are just plain wrong and outdated. So let's start here. More layers does not automatically mean more warmth, because if those layers trap sweat, that moisture sits on your skin, pulls heat away faster. Studies show once you're cold and damp, hypothermia risk goes up pretty fast. And this is where people get tripped up. Cotton is a problem in cold like this because it holds moisture, stays wet, and it keeps the cold pressed right against your skin. So even with a big coat, if the layers under it are wrong, y'all, you're losing heat, which is why a heavy coat by itself is not enough. Without insulation underneath, wind can strip heat right off you. So you need a layering system that keeps heat in and moisture out. Okay, then there's the myth about alcohol. People grab a drink thinking it'll warm them up. I'll let this ER doctor answer that one.
It's so not true. In fact, I tell patients all the time, alcohol will keep you warmer like it's going to make you more attractive. And that's when it hits them. They're like, oh, I guess it doesn't work then. I was like, no, it doesn't. It just provides you the sensation that you're warmer, but no.
Yeah, you feel warm for a moment, but alcohol pushes blood to your skin and your core temperature can drop. I learned a lot today, y'all.
Well, this new first-of-its-kind Amazon facility has become quite the buzz here in Orland Park. It's set to be built right along 159th and LaGrange. And if you live in the southwest suburbs, if you know this area, you would know that this intersection gets very congested. You can see that already this morning with some traffic picking up. But it's also home to major retailers, including Costco, which is just a half-mile away from where we are right now. Now, Amazon's brand new retail concept would feature groceries and general merchandise and more than 800 parking spaces. Keep in mind, this is also expected to be massive. We're talking 225,000 square feet. Just for some context here, Walmart supercenters typically average around 180,000 square feet. Board members heard from people living here and, of course, these nearby business owners who weren't too thrilled about this proposal, mostly due to those traffic concerns, but also because of how quickly this project has been moving. We also heard from Orland Park's mayor, who says on average 70,000 cars pass through this intersection every day.
Amazon is an innovator. They're a big, aggressive, successful firm. You know who else is big and aggressive and successful at what they do? It happens to be in their retail business, who's across the town in Seattle from Amazon, is Costco. And I fully expect that all of these businesses will find ways to innovate and serve, because it kind of matters.
Well, meanwhile, village officials say this new store could help boost the local economy, bringing 500 jobs and additional sales tax revenue to the village. Amazon representatives also say multiple traffic studies were done before this was even proposed. Some of their improvements include widening a nearby road and adding some traffic signals to help reduce some of the congestion. Construction, we know, could start as early as this spring, with plans to have that new store up and running by 2027.
Coming up, turning grief into purpose, honoring Martin Luther King Jr., and the finalists for the Oscars of cooking.
She's been through a lot, so it's really tough for her to keep it together. But this is an art form and also like therapy for her. Her name is Tisa Johnson Banks. She made a sweater for Caleb Williams and posted it online. Then Simone Biles stepped in to make the connection. For Tisa, every stitch tells a story.
Tisa Johnson Banks has stitched her life back together, not once, not twice, but 4 times.
I lost one brother June 2023, June 2024, June 2025. I lost 4 sons back to back.
Grief nearly unraveled her, but instead of folding, she threaded her pain into purpose.
The first one I ever did is actually this one here, in honor of my brother. It was a sweater at first, and then when I re-rocked it, I took the sleeves off and turned into a vest.
And so what do? You go through all the pictures and...
Yeah, so this was my very, very first one. So the designs aren't so crisp. Like when I started doing it more and started getting real deep into it, and I start, researching and getting better with my graphics.
Johnson Banks learned to sew at just 7 years old at the Boys and Girls Club, a skill that would later become her lifeline.
I'm familiar with loss, but at the end of the day, I have to keep living my life and keep pushing.
Today, the Chicago designer creates commemorative sweaters, each stitch carrying a story.
Most of the time it's for people, loved ones that passed away.
But before fashion ever entered the picture, the 40-year-old's real dream was football.
I love sports, and I always wanted to play football, but they told me girls don't play football.
Well, now they
do.
That call didn't stand. The wife and mother of 4 still fell hard for the game. Her team, the Chicago Bears.
I actually created this yesterday. Time was ticking, so I had to finish it up in the car on my way to the game. Yes, so I had to hand stitch everything. The back I did on my machine because it was easy to do. But the front legs, I had to hand stitch everything.
She and her husband Johnny were sitting inches from the 50-yard line for the Bears-Packers showdown, proof that sometimes passion gets you field position. Using her love for design, Johnson Banks has created custom pieces for celebrities like singers, but one design stood out, a sweater made for Bears quarterback Caleb Williams.
I just made it and it just went viral, and then I don't ask people for help, and I heard that voice say, put it on social media and let your social media do the work.
She took the ask to social media, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, hoping someone would help complete the pass.
I had an Instagram message, I'm about to message you, and it was Simone Biles.
She caught the eye of Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles Owens, wife of Bears safety Jonathan Owen. Simone commented for the designer to check her DMs. This was the message inside.
And she said, hey, I seen your sweater with the Iceman. It is so sickening. And then she messaged me back like I'm going to reach out to his team and to his mom. She reached back. She said his mom would love to wear the sweaters.
Just before the meetup, Johnson Banks got a surprise blitz. The sweater wasn't for Caleb after all. It was for his mother.
So I altered it, and I had it ready in 5 minutes.
The moment changed everything. Orders have been coming in.
So I have 210 text messages I have to go through.
But that money already has a destination.
Doing what I need to do to raise the money to save my building.
How much money have you raised so far?
Right, so far I raised $21,000. And to save the building is $46,000.
Johnson Banks bought this Chicago building to serve as her studio, only to discover it came with broken doors, stripped copper, and back taxes she never saw coming.
That has to be
paid by February 27th.
The $46,000.
Yes.
What are you thinking now? That's getting close. We're a few weeks away.
Grind, put in orders.
Now every dollar she earns goes towards saving it, and the clock is ticking.
This is the finished hat that I just completed.
That was what, 2 minutes?
Yes.
She's racing against time, taking orders, hoping she can stitch together one final comeback before time runs out.
Yeah, 2 minutes. She stitched the hat together. I couldn't believe it. Tisa is still taking orders. You can visit her website at tisawitht.com.
And you know, there's MLK events going on all around Chicago right now, and I really encourage you to get out there and seek some in your community. But yes, like you said, you know, but this MLK commemoration weekend has been going on for really 37 years, put on by no other than Rainbow Push Coalition, as you said. And yeah, you're taking a look at the breakfast right now. You know, a lot of people here networking and spans throughout the morning. This year, journalist Don Lemon will headline the event, and the Leo High School Choir has been performing. 8 people will be honored with the Trailblazing and Excellence Award for Innovation, Leadership, and Impact in their fields. Now, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias, and more are in this crowd. Just seeing Alexi Giannoulias just sit down right now. The breakfast was spanned through most of the morning, like I said, here at the Fairmont Chicago on North Columbus Drive with a strong message. Again, like I said, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton is here and took to the podium. You know, she brought up parallels with MLK's fight all those years ago and current conditions that we're seeing now.
Parallels between the moment in history when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stepped up to lead and the moment that we are in right now. We are at a crossroads, and at every crossroads in history, progress has come because ordinary people chose courage over comfort. People like my dad, Henry, who marched from Selma to Montgomery because he believed change was possible when good people refused to stay silent. When he was asked why he marched, he simply said, I didn't like how human beings were being treated. It sounds familiar, doesn't it?
So the Push legacy moves on, and more importantly, so does Dr. King. He lives on as well. And events just like this, again, I encourage you, to look around your community, see what's happening this afternoon, later this morning, and see if you can attend.
For decades, this is where wild animals native to our region have been treated and re-released. That important work is still being done, but now in a brand new multi-million-dollar space. Many of you know it as the Willowbrook Wildlife Center. While it carries the same mission, the new medical facility and visitor space reopened last Monday as the DuPage Wildlife Conservation Center. It is the largest wildlife rehabilitation center in the state, with on-staff veterinarians treating more than 11,000 wild animals each year. The newly constructed 27,000 square foot building blends that same expertise with an emphasis now on the visitor experience. Large windows in the lobby give community members a behind-the-scenes look at care, where they can watch doctors treat a variety of wildlife, from hummingbirds to coyotes.
We wanted to highlight the unique operations of a wildlife hospital, so that's why we have windows in our visitor center that go into some of the behind-the-scenes areas where people can see the animals that are here as patients as they move throughout the rehabilitation process. You'll actually get to see an animal that has come in, get an examination, get treatments, even get a surgery, so we can watch that happen in real time.
What's satisfying for me is to taking those animals that did have some sort of human-caused injury and fixing that. A lot of people ask why rehabilitate, and I think it's for that reason, to be able to take those animals that we had a reason for them coming in and giving back to that animal.
The facility is open 7 days a week, and the building was built as a net zero space, meaning that it produces just as much, if not more, energy than it uses.
The James Beard Foundation just revealing the semifinalists for the 2026 Restaurant and Chef Awards. And of course, dozens of Chicago's restaurants and chefs have made the semifinalist category. Yeah, how about that? Sam Toia, president and CEO of the Illinois Restaurant Association, is here to break down who made the cut. Sam, I know you're excited. This is such a big deal for our city. Let's talk about why is even being named just a semifinalist such a big deal for these restaurants and chefs?
Oh, this is such a big deal. Again, we are the culinary capital of the United States. This just shows why we are the James Beard Awards here. But winning a James Beard Award or even being nominated, it's like being nominated for an Oscar, or winning an Oscar. That's why it is so important to the food industry, to our chefs, to our restaurateurs, to our bartenders, everybody it wants to be nominated for a James Beard Award because it just highlights how well ran, how good your food is, how good your restaurant is. So it is a privilege to be nominated.
Yeah, everybody wants it, but only a few get it. So who are some of the front runners?
Oh, well, we got outstanding restaurateur. Joe Flam from Roseberry is part of it, right? That's unbelievable. Outstanding restaurateur. We got L Ideas and best chef presenting by Great Lakes, like Tai Dang of Hai Su. So we have some great talent here in Chicago that are being nominated. Outstanding hospitality, Daisy's. Outstanding bar, Hop Leaf Bar, to name a few.
Oh, so many. That list goes on and on.
You could have me on for an hour.
We could, and well-deserved, right? But I have to talk to you let's talk about this because the semifinalist list is usually pretty big. I think last year we had about 22 restaurants that were on the semifinalist list, and then it was whittled down to 5 for the finalist. So do you expect to see that huge discrepancy happen again? What goes on there?
I do. Like you mentioned, there's 23 nominees. I'm hoping more than 5 make it. Like you said, last year it was 5. Hopefully we get a few more than that, but it does get whittled down. Not just us. It could be Philadelphia or Los Angeles or New York. All the nominees, they get whittled down. So we will see as we move forward here. But we have such a great culinary scene here in Chicago that I think we'll definitely bring some winner homes, because we always do. And again, like I mentioned, the James Beard Awards is like winning an Oscar Awards. So fingers crossed to bring some of the gold home here to Chicago.
You mentioned Philly, LA. Are those some of the other cities who have been trying to steal the James Beard Award hosting duties from the city of Chicago?
Great question. Yes, there are. Even Houston, They're trying to steal from us. We've had it here since 2015. We know we're going to have it here through 2027, and we're going to try to keep it here even longer. And here's the thing. You know, obviously, the James Beard Awards partners with Choose Chicago and Illinois Restaurant Association. We do a lot of work with the James Beard Awards. They're not going to get a better team out there. I don't care what they say in New York or San Francisco or Houston. We have the best culinary scene, hospitality scene right here in the culinary capital of the United States, Chicago.
Yeah, go off, King.
Said,
go
Sam
off, King. Let them know.
You tell them.
Coming up, the ring-tailed lemurs of Brookfield Zoo, Chicago, a pop-up Family Guy bar, and Johnny Cash for kids.
I have dressed for the occasion here at Brookfield Zoo, Chicago. I'm with President and CEO Dr. Mike, and we are introducing you to the ring-tailed lemur today. Tell us about this crew that we have behind us.
So these are our boys Ramses, Moses, and Dogwood. Ring-tailed lemurs are native to the island of Madagascar off the coast of Africa. Really fun animals. We've been watching them here with some enrichment items that have been added in there just to give them some items to interact with. They've been looking around for some craisins at the moment that we're
Who doesn't love a craisin?
That's right, that's right.
They're very leapy. That's how I would describe them.
Yeah, so they're a primate, so they're similar to a monkey, but not a monkey. So if you think of them within the primate family, they're kind of a primitive monkey. They still rely more heavily on their sense of smell than their eyesight. So they've got that long snout like we would think of with many other animals versus a more vision-focused face that you would see in a monkey or an ape.
Are they only on the island of Madagascar?
They are, yeah. So there's around 100 different species of lemurs. They range from some really tiny little mouse lemurs up to the larger ones like the ring-tailed lemurs or the siphox or the red-ruffed lemurs. But about 100 different types in total, all found just on the island of Madagascar.
And I would assume that their habitat is probably in danger, right, if they're just all right there?
It is, yeah. So they are endangered. You know, it's the threats of human encroachment, human development, clearing of forest land for agriculture, loss of forest habitat to charcoal use, all kinds of different things. But really anything that takes down that forest canopy really threatens them.
Tell me a little bit about their tails. They're so unique.
Yeah, so I think one of the most interesting things about that striped tail is that they're all identical. So it's not like a zebra or a, you know, an animal with stripes like a tiger where the patterns are different.
They're unique to that specific animal,
yeah,
right?
It's not like a barcode. It's always the same 13 white, 13 black on the length of that tail. But they use it for communication, so when they're out looking for food, it's something that helps keep the group together. It's easy to see that tail up in the air. And they
like
use
a
it for
tour
signaling.
guide.
Exactly,
yes.
yeah.
Just like a tour guide. I also want to touch on, though, the scent. You mentioned that. Their sense of smell is better than their eyesight, and they mark their territory.
That's right. So they've got scent glands on their wrists. They've got scent glands at the base of their tail. So you'll see them marking, rubbing things to lay down that scent to let other animals know that they're there.
All right. Well, you can come see them here at Brookfield Zoo, Chicago.
Exactly right. Listen, guys, in the grand scheme of pop culture bars, you're going to be hard-pressed to find something more iconic, a more iconic location than the Drunken Clam. Listen, you've watched Family Guy on Fox for years. Case in point, you probably have seen this living room a time or two. But if you've ever wanted to know what it felt like to maybe throw one back inside of the iconic watering hole from Family Guy, we got just the place for you because there is a new pop-up in Westtown that is basically a perfect recreation of the Drunken Clam from Family Guy. I'm here with Derek Barry, the president of Experiences. Bucket Listers, my man, good to see you. Good to see you. I want to give you guys a shout out for a minute because we've done different pop-ups with you guys in the past. And sometimes you do a pop-up and it's a cardboard cutout and a themed drink. But when you guys do a pop-up, it really is like you're stepping into the show. Case in point, welcome to the Drunken Clam. Am I right?
You are here. We are in Quahog. But you said it. I mean, look, Chicago's the best city in everywhere in the world, let's put it, right? They deserve the best. And there is a lot of pop-ups. And when we come to town, we really want to make sure it's a 10 out of 10. We were just talking before we filmed, and 10 years ago, we did the Saved by the Max together.
Yes, exactly.
You broke that one. Thank you. It's so good to see you again.
Good to see you.
2 exclusives, awesome together.
I'll take it, man.
But I remember talking to you and saying, like, we didn't just want to do cardboard cutouts.
Yeah.
We didn't want a nook that just looked like it. And we wanted to work directly with the studio, be licensed. We want them to say, hey, guys,
and
change
that goes
this,
a long way.
It goes so far.
And there are so many little Easter eggs around. Like, you can come back here and you can order a drink, and if you're just doing that, that's fine.
Right.
But you could spend an hour walking around here looking. I mean, like, case in point, you talked about having permission with the studio. You have all these hand-drawn illustrations from some of the early seasons, and even the drinks themselves are throwbacks to
everything.
This is a drink.
Yeah, that's a drink. So this is No to Cleveland. It's called the Oh No No No. And if you're a fan of Family Guy, you will get it. And if you're not a fan of Family Guy, you probably want to drink a cocktail out of a bathtub, and it's going to be a really good time.
Let's be honest, it's a life goal for many of us. Now, this opens tomorrow, but it's not going to be here forever. So what do people need to know if they want to come out and know what it feels like to be Peter or Cleveland or any of the guys throwing back at the Drunken Clam?
Well, like you said, you could be here for an hour, but with your ticket, you actually get an hour and a half and a welcome cocktail. You jump on bucketlisters.com, Chicago Bucket List on Instagram, easiest place to find it. And you book a ticket, right? Dates are selling out. We want you to book in advance so you know when you come in.
So it's not just knock on the door and roll in. Like, you need to have an appointment to be here.
If we're not sold out, you can roll in.
Sure.
You, Peter.
But you're risking it.
You're risking it. It's cold. You don't want to hang out outside. So book a ticket. You get online and you come in here. You have a great time. There's different photo ops. There's themed cocktails. Everything you could think of. The little Easter eggs. Like we run that stuff by Seth and his team, right?
That's incredible.
It's like it's not going to be just like subpar. It's like we really had to go for it, and there's so many fun things to just. I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to tell people what to look for, but there's a lot of fun stuff.
What is the website where people can get tickets?
Chicago Bucket List on Instagram.
And whenever you get a ticket, you get one of these little tokens, and this is for a drink?
Yes.
So you get a little Drunken Clam token. So guys, every one of these gets you a drink. So if you guys don't mind, as we wrap up our live shot, I'm just going to say, I don't often say this, but hey guys, drinks on me as we toss it back to you in the studio.
Hopefully they have some non-alcoholic up.
There you go.
I know.
Now we got a few more weeks till the finish line.
Thank you so much, Jake. So kind of you.
Thank you.
Chicago has had a long and influential role in the development of jazz in this country, but it has never been named a host city for International Jazz Day, until now. The world's largest celebration of jazz will be coming to Chicago in April to celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States, the 100th birthday of the late jazz legend Miles Davis, and the opening of the Obama Presidential Center on the South Side.
Chicago is a jazz city.
This is the 15th International Jazz Day, which has been held in cities across the globe, but never in Chicago, which is considered one of the birthplaces of jazz and home to jazz legends like Louis Armstrong, Nat King Cole, Dinah Washington, and the late Quincy Jones.
This is going to be just an incredible celebration of an art form that helped shape America's cultural heartbeat and found one of its greatest homes right here in what we call in the state of Illinois the middle of everything.
At the end of April, some of the world's greatest jazz performers will descend on Chicago for a series of performances, educational programs, and community outreach across the city, and culminate in an all-star global concert led by jazz legend and Chicagoan Herbie Hancock that will be broadcast to 190 countries.
During the Great Migration, it's the black families from the South that flocked to Chicago, bringing rich jazz and blues traditions with them, and they transformed the sound of our great city.
Chicago-based jazz vocalist Kurt Elling was among the artists who lobbied to bring the celebration to Chicago. Why is it important to bring this to Chicago?
It's important to bring it to Chicago because people think of Chicago as a flyover city. They don't recognize the incredible glories that are here. We're here. The music is swinging. The food is killing. The views are incredible. We gotta all just show this off to the world.
That big jazz performance that'll happen here in Chicago on April 30th is expected to be broadcast to more than 250 million people across the globe.
It is a celebration that is all about the man in black. The Johnny Cash for Kids Festival is back for its 21st year this weekend, and we are shall we say, walking the line, over to the Irish American Heritage Center for a very special preview. Here to give us some details, and the man hanging on to the guitar is Aaron DeCourt. Aaron, thanks for joining us this morning. For those of us who are unfamiliar, give us the rundown on the Johnny Cash Festival. Other than a fantastic jean jacket there, what can folks expect?
Sure. This is our 21st year. We've been doing this show for a very long time for a bunch of great causes. We celebrate the life of Johnny Cash and the spirit of his music. So we have 3 stages, 9 bands this year, a bunch of great talent from all across the country coming out of the Irish American Heritage Center tomorrow. This year, and in years previous, we've partnered with an awesome nonprofit organization called Pat Max Pack.
Okay.
And they do 2 things. They raise money for pediatric brain tumor research, and they support families going through the pediatric brain tumor issues and travel and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a wonderful cause.
1, 2, 3. Well, saddle up, boys, yeah, it's time to hit the road. Sing another lyric from the title of another song nobody knows. Well, I work, baby, all week long, and I bust my butt from dusk till dawn just to sing my song to the moon I gone from home. Well, we'll saddle up, boys, yeah, it's time to hit the road. Sing another lyric from the title of another song nobody knows. Back to work another Monday morning, another 16-hour day just to keep the money flowing. Gotta gas up, pack up, hitch up down the line. Well, we'll saddle up, boy, well, it's time to hit the road. Sing another lyric from the title of another song.
This has been your Fox 32 Week in Review.
Thanks for watching Fox 32 Chicago. Subscribe now for the stories that matter and never miss what's next.